Hello, Hannah the Suburban Witch here, and today we're going to be talking about Mercury Retrograde. Mercury Retrograde is a term thrown around a lot in the spiritual community, but what does it actually mean? A lot of people are scared and fearful when they hear it, but it's not all doom and gloom. In this video, I'm going to give you the lowdown on what Mercury Retrograde actually means and some tips for you on how to survive it. I've also got the dates for the upcoming Mercury Retrogrades for 2021 at the end of the video, so make sure to stay tuned for that. So Mercury is the planet that's closest to the sun. He is also the trickster planet. He governs our mind and the way we think, the way we communicate, short-term travel, and technology as well. So Mercury's orbit is about 4 times shorter than ours. So it takes about 88 days to go around the sun. This means it goes into retrograde around about 3 to 4 times per year, depending on whereabouts it falls in our calendar. Now, when it goes retrograde, it doesn't actually stop its orbit and go back the other way, okay? It's going to continue going the same way around the sun. What we mean is from our vantage point here on Earth, when we are looking at the sky and we see Mercury, it appears to stop and go backwards, okay? And that's just because our orbits change, they're different, okay? They work differently in the way we move and the way it moves. It looks different from our vantage point. Now, what this is, it's more of a shift in the energy of the planet, okay? So it's not a physical change in the way it moves or anything like that. It just appears to go backwards in the sky, and that sort of sets a few things adrift here on our plane. Now, contrary to popular belief, it is not all doom and gloom. Now, some of the common bad effects are things like delays in your short-term travel. So if you're doing an overseas trip, a big, long trip, you're not going to have any effects from a Mercury retrograde. But if you're going on your ordinary commute to work, you may want to leave a few minutes early. Sometimes we might misplace things. There might be technology glitches, computer crashes. We may dream about an ex or, God forbid, bump into one. We often have some communication breakdowns, sending an email to the wrong person and it's about them, that sort of thing. And we can often dream or think about memories that we'd often rather avoid. What all this is doing is it's actually helping us to learn the lessons we were supposed to learn. So we rehash things, we go over things. It's teaching us to slow down so that we don't have these issues in the future. Now, the Mercury retrograde often lasts around about 3 weeks. But we also have a shadow period and an echo period as well. So what that means, from our vantage point, Mercury is going to go forward. Let's just say it gets to degree 13, right? When we're looking at an astrology wheel. So it gets to degree 13 of whatever sign, and then it's going to go forward a little bit and then say, oh, we're going to go retrograde. It's going to go back to degree 13 and then back forward to degree, whichever one this was, and then continue forward. So what the shadow period is, it's from the time it hits degree 13, it's still moving forwards, and that's the shadow period. Then it goes, oh, no, we're going to move backwards now. Now it's the actual Mercury retrograde. Hits 13 again. Now it's the echo where it goes back over again. So it's a rehashing going back over that thing. So the most intense times of a Mercury retrograde, I find, are the time when we hit that first degree, when it goes into the shadow period, when it immediately goes retrograde, so the day it goes retrograde, the day it goes direct, so it starts moving back forward again, and then the day that it finishes that shadow period. So it's a little bit technical there, but I just find those crossover times, those little times where we're in between, they're the most intense for me personally and what I've seen for a Mercury retrograde. So timing of those shadow periods is around about 2 weeks before and after. So you're looking at a total of 7 weeks for all of those effects for a Mercury retrograde, 3 to 4 times a year. And you have been dealing with this your whole life, and you probably never noticed anything out of the ordinary until someone said the word Mercury retrograde, and then it all started to click and make sense. Now, some people are actually born with Mercury retrograde in their natal chart. This means they were born during a Mercury retrograde. And what this can often do is mean that that person, firstly, thinks about things in a little bit of a different way. It's rumoured that Da Vinci may have had his Mercury in retrograde. Steve Jobs, Lady Gaga, and Madonna all have Mercury in retrograde as well. So they do things a little bit different. They think outside the box. This is a great placement to have. Some people find that during Mercury retrograde, if they have that in their natal chart, they actually feel normal and they feel fine and they don't seem to have all of the effects everyone else worries about. But that's because they're sort of used to being in that mind frame most of the time. So it's really handy to have a look at your own natal chart to determine what's going to be happening for you during a Mercury retrograde. For example, in February 2020, we had a Mercury retrograde in the sign of Pisces. Now, I'm a rising Aquarius, and I always say when you're looking at transits and things like this to look for your rising sign. If you don't know your rising sign, you can use your sun sign, but your rising sign will be more accurate for you. As a rising Aquarius, the Pisces Mercury retrograde was triggering my second house of love and money. I remember at that time I had this beautiful influx of bookings. I had this really tidy sum come in all at once, pretty much all these bookings in one day. And I celebrated. I thought, oh, this is fantastic. I've got all these clients. I'm so excited. That night, I was driving to my full moon circle and I was a little bit late because Mercury retrograde and delays, and I was racing and speeding a little bit to get there, and I got a speeding fine. And that speeding fine was the exact amount of bookings that I had received that day. So my money went out the window and I was still running late. So that was how Mercury retrograde affected me personally and how that showed up through my chart. Some other things I've had happen during retrogrades, I remember trying to make a new web page for my website. So just an additional page that people could access. It's my support page. Now I wrote out the whole thing, put in little cute graphics and everything, did all the links, and it would not save. And the only way to get out of that page was to literally close it down, start again. I did that 3 times in one day and ended up going, I should know better than this. It's Mercury retrograde. I'm going to leave it and do it later. So I put a little note in my diary for after that shadow period to retry and do that page. And what do you know? Got to it and it was perfect. So it worked that first time. Now, the process of going through it 3 times and having 3 little shots at it, it actually meant the page that I got at the end was far better than what I had originally started with. So that actually helped me to refine what I wanted to show to my clients on my website. So Mercury retrograde helps us refine things and go back and do things again to make them better. Now, what are some do's and don'ts during a Mercury retrograde? The best thing to keep in mind is the RE. The re for retrograde, and I'll show you what I mean. So I want you to review and read over everything before you sign it. Read the small print and review those emails and texts before you send. Revise. Work on your finances, rewrite that essay. Repair. Fix up something old and give it a revamp. This is the perfect time to do that. Research. Research what you're doing before you do it. This is a time when communication can be misconstrued. So you want to make sure that you have done your research before you put anything out there. Reconnect. Sometimes old friends pop up during a Mercury retrograde to remind us of that acquaintance that we had and to rekindle that friendship. I do suggest, however, if this happens with an ex, it may not be the best time to rekindle the relationship that you had with them, but maybe to go over some of the lessons that person brought through for you. Personally, on that one, I actually have a family member who, without fail, always contacts me every Mercury retrograde. Someone that I no longer speak to anymore, but she always manages to find a way to get through to me, whether that's a text, a message on social media. She'll find me somehow, and always during Mercury retrograde. Remember. Now this one's remember to leave early for appointments to get to work. Remember there's going to be delays, so you want to leave early. And always have a backup plan. Reapply. This is the perfect time to reapply for a job that you didn't get. Give it another shot. What are you going to lose? Or reapply for a course or restart a course that you may have let slide. This is a great time for going back to things that you haven't quite finished and making sure you finish them. Not a great time to start a new course or to start a new job, however. And read. Read all of your emails before you send them and try not to make any major decisions during this time. So instead of making new commitments, find old things to review, revamp, and refresh. Okay, I have to finish this video with a baby in my arms. He didn't quite sleep as long as I was hoping. So when can we expect the next Mercury retrogrades to affect us? Well, we've already had the first one for the year. That happened in January and early Feb. So the next retrograde will be on the 30th of May until the 23rd of June. This will be a retrograde in Gemini. So a great time to read all the books you've been wanting to read, be wary of gossip and how you're talking about other people, as miscommunications can run rife at this time. Following that, there'll be another retrograde on the 28th of September until the 19th of October. This will be a retrograde in Libra. This is a good time to reconnect with friends you've lost touch with, make peace with wrongs you've done or ways you've been wronged, and don't rush decisions. The first retrograde of the year was also in Aquarius, so these are all in air signs this year. This means they're good for doing things like yoga, breath work and journaling, and actually benefits anyone with their sun or rising in air or fire. Remember, there are 2 weeks prior and 2 weeks after these dates that Mercury will be in their shadow and echo periods. It looks like we're also doing this video with my kitty cat. So I hope this video has made you feel more confident about tackling Mercury retrogrades in the future. Remember, take it slow, leave early, and watch what you're saying and writing, review, read, and redo everything that you're wanting to do. Have a great day wherever you are in the world today. Bye for now.